all personnel belonging to my ladies and train. This is on the 125th Street. Watch the gap.
And, you know, so in this video, I want to address the haters. I want to address YouTube and your mental health and the algorithm and how it can kind of mess with you. And I want to address friends. And that one might seem like kind of esoteric and weird with regards to YouTube, but actually it's got everything to do with the other two things that I want to talk about. You know, I've been seeing some weird videos lately, you know, and I'm a tiny little YouTuber, you know. I'm not on the level of Peter McKinnon and all those kind of people. Like, I am a minuscule little channel, you know. But I feel like I do have consistent people who come here all the time. And I appreciate that so much. And, you know, I got to really thank somebody who told me a long time ago that I should approach my channel the way I feel in the theater. Like, if I'm in a small theater and I have 100 people in a house that only holds 99 seats, that feels like a big crowd. And, you know, if you're an independent theater artist and you're working a lot, you're working in quite a few 99-seat houses or 149-seat houses. And when you have a full house, that's a lot of people. And so when I have even 75, 80 views, or, you know, if I get to 180 or 300, or if I get to 700, that's a big audience for me. And when I get into the thousands, I mean, I've performed for thousands of people at times, but not a lot of times. But I know what it feels like, and sometimes the small crowd feels even bigger because it's more intimate. You tend to be able to see people easier in that type of space, especially if you're in a theater. And obviously, if you're working in the film world, you don't see anybody. You're just making a movie, and then you're sharing that, you know. And unless you're doing a public screening or something like that, you don't get to have that type of interaction. So I say all that to say, I've been seeing these videos about people responding to haters, making movies, you know, with metaphors and things like that. And I get it, you know, because we are human beings, you know what I mean? Like, it actually hurts when people say bad things about you when you're just trying to do what you do. You know what I mean? Like my question is, why do you even care? You know, if you're taking the time to criticize somebody's channel, you know, if you're, you know, trying to say they're not really a filmmaker if they're on YouTube, or they're not, you know, being honest about their motivational stuff, or you want to criticize, like, why do you even care, you know? And, you know, right now, some people who follow me a lot might say this is pretty hypocritical because just recently I did a video about please do not do easy mode, you know, and I got some people to push back on that. And I had to really check myself because, you know, I thought about it and, you know, I was like, why do I even care? You know what I mean? I mean, I really don't care because, like, the cat's out of the bag. You know what I mean? Like, anybody can do YouTube. Anybody can do anything on social media. And you can't control what anybody else is doing. And why would you even care? Why does it matter? What does it have to do with your life? You know what I mean? I mean, we are trying to support one another. And I'm somebody who's way into trying to be brilliant all the time. I'm trying. I never reach that, but I'm trying for excellence all the time. I'm trying for magnificent, for genius, for all of it, with everything that I do. That's what I'm trying to do. And so when I say please don't do easy mode, what I'm really saying is don't sell yourself short. You know, like, do the best you can. You have so much to offer. There's, you know, so much opportunity to go beyond what you ever thought you could do on this platform. You know what I mean? Like, you have a chance to kind of break your own glass ceiling and go, damn, I could do this, you know, like, I can do great. I can make it look good. I can make it sound good. I can share interesting content. I can contribute to people. I can make people feel like there's a reason to actually come to my channel because they're feeling better when they leave. They've learned something. They've been inspired. Like, everybody has that opportunity. So, you know, I don't really care about easy mode. You know what I mean? And again, I am just trying to be encouraging to people. Like, just do your best, you know? But by the same token, I don't consider that some hater stuff. You know what I mean? Like when people come on here and try to criticize other creators, unless you're doing something hurtful to society, like why would you criticize anybody? Because they're not as good as you at filmmaking or at photography or music or whatever. Like, what does that have to do with you? And then these response videos, sometimes you could tell how hurt somebody is because they can get pretty crass. They could get pretty dark, And in a way, that's kind of cool because it makes for great art. It makes for really interesting, fun art. I mean, sometimes the best art is not the easiest art. It's not the most palatable. It's not the most comfortable. It's disruptive. Like a lot of people have described me as a disruptive artist over the years, and I wear that like a badge of honor. I take it as a total compliment. But what I don't like is how sometimes I don't think people take into account how they're going to affect somebody mentally and emotionally and spiritually. Because you never know what somebody's going through in their life. You know what I mean? Like on social media and here on YouTube, everybody kind of seems like they have this fabulous life and everything is awesome and they have money and they have a beautiful place to live and they have all these friends and they're living this fabulous life. When in fact, I think we all know that that's not the case for most people. Like you can create anything you want, just like you could put up a profile picture on Facebook from your high school graduation, but you're 53 years old and you've gained 100 pounds since that time and your skin doesn't look too good and you haven't taken care of yourself and suddenly you're embarrassed about the way you look when in fact you might have a job where you're changing people's lives, where you're saving people's lives, you have a beautiful family, you're raising some beautiful kids, you're good to your spouse, you're great in your community. Like, who cares what you look like? The only care that I would have is, are you healthy? Are you okay? Like sometimes I'll see somebody I haven't seen for a long time and I'm like, are you all right? Like, you don't look healthy, and so that makes me worry about people sometimes. But at the same time, I'm not judging somebody like on the way they look. So all I'm saying is, you want to come at somebody here at YouTube and you want to call them out by name, you might really hurt somebody. And what's the benefit of that? What does it do for you? You're just like, you're frustrated, you're not where you want to be in your life, you're kind of angry, you become jealous and kind of spiteful of people you don't even know. Like, what does that do for you? What is that giving you? Because all you're doing is hurting people. Like, when you make a video criticizing other people, the only outcome is that either you're going to get ignored or you're going to hurt somebody or piss somebody off. Like there's no upside to that, I mean, who made any of us the gatekeeper of quality or the gatekeeper of perfection or, the way things should be? Like, nobody is that, nobody is that person. We all have our opinions and that's fine. We might all have standards, too. I mean, some people don't have any standards, So, surround yourself with the people who you feel comfortable with, Work in the scenarios that make you feel valued and make you feel good and make you feel like you're doing something that actually is meaningful. Like, do that for yourself, Don't be around anybody who's trying to cut you down. Don't be around anybody who's trying to make you feel less than them. But, if you're also the person who has all of those demands, like it's got to be the best, then don't worry about the people who are not on your level in your mind. Don't worry about the people who are not, keeping up with you in your mind, because you don't even know really. Because, I often say, and, I'm showing my age here, but some people like Metallica and some people like New Kids on the Block, Some people like to listen to John Coltrane and some people like Taylor Swift. And that's cool. Obviously, millions and millions of people love Taylor Swift. But I come from a music background where I know the people that I worked with in the past and I relate to and I talk to who are friends of mine. I'll tell you right now that they're not fans of New Kids on the Block or Taylor Swift. They might not hate them, and they're not going to say anything disparaging or, they're not going to judge them or they might judge them, but they're not even thinking about them. That's the whole thing, I literally don't know anybody in my circle who's out here, like condemning or criticizing anybody else for what they're doing. And the main reason is that the people that I know are so busy doing their own thing, they ain't got time for all of that. Ain't nobody got time for any of that really, when you think about it. you know, to take the time and the energy to make a video to criticize other people? For what? For what? You know? And the same thing I guess sometimes people feel like they need to defend themselves, and I understand that, you know, because they're hurt. And a lot of YouTube and a lot of social media is your reputation. And when somebody says something bad about you or criticizes you or tries to kind of cut you off at the knees and make you a little bit smaller, I can understand wanting to respond to that, you know. And what's amazing about that is that if you do that to a true artist, they're going to respond to you in a way that you might not even know that they just destroyed you. But also, what are they getting from that? Some relief, I guess, you know. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to defend myself unless somebody physically attacks me. I'll defend myself. But you could say whatever you want about me. I don't care. You know, get in line. People have been talking about me for years. I'm an artist who has never been afraid to speak his mind, to stand on things that are not necessarily popular. And so I'm used to it, and I'm good with it, because you know what? Everybody has a right to their opinion. And, you know, if you feel that it's valuable time well spent to criticize me, all right, knock yourself out. Hope you get something from it. The other thing I was thinking about was, I noticed that after 5 years of trying to get monetized here, I finally got monetized. I finally, you know, I got my 1,000 subscribers a while ago, but I finally got my 4,000 watch hours. And all of a sudden, I posted my feature film, which has gotten a lot of views. You know, it's almost 1,000 views in just a few days, and that's pretty cool. But all my other videos are suddenly like, phoom, dropping like, you know, like an anvil thrown into a pool. I mean, just right to the bottom of the water. And, you know, suddenly I'm getting like 85 views or 150 views at the most. Like, and also I noticed that one of my videos that went up, I think it was yesterday, it didn't have one ad on it. And I'm like, so what's going on? You know, and I started to think about it, but then I thought, oh, hell no, stop. Like, I am not going to get caught up in that. Because I started to have this conspiracy theory thing going on in my head, like, well, maybe they make you continue to scramble, you know, once you get monetized, and make you continue to put out content, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what YouTube wants, is continual content to keep people on the platform. But then I went, stop. Don't even think about it. Don't even give it any energy. Just continue to do your best, you know, to use YouTube in the way that suits me the best, in the way that I feel like I can best contribute to the people who are, I'll say it again, kind enough to come here. And that's what I'm going to do. But I could see how it really affects your mental health. You know what I mean? When you know, like, it's easy for me to talk about somebody like Dodash, who's making thousands and thousands of dollars talking to her camera in her bathroom, in the car, just not making any kind of effort, and yet people find great value in that. I can't think about that, you know what I mean? Like, because it's got nothing to do with me, and it's got nothing to do with the way I approach things, and we're not here for the same reasons, and so why would I even do that, you know? Why would I ever compare myself to somebody like her? Just wish her well, you know? It's just not a way I would approach it, you know? So, you know, I just thought, you know what, stick to your guns, do what you do, be the best that you could possibly be, contribute, make sure that you remember that it ain't all about you, and that you're not the only one. You know, YouTube is not targeting me. And, you know, I think that's what people feel sometimes, like, why are they doing this to me? It ain't you. It's just, you know, it's just what it is, you know what I mean? You can't figure it out. So just do the best you can, educate yourself the best you can, try to, you know, optimize everything properly as best you can, from titles to thumbnails to keywords to SEO to all of that stuff. Just try to learn as much as you can and hope for the best. That's all you could do, you know. There are these channels teaching you how to do YouTube, and I look at them and I'm like, I'm doing all of that, you know. So, and then you start to think, is it me? But that's the part that made me realize it ain't you. Just do the best you can. And so I just say that to say, if you're going through the ups and downs on YouTube, just keep making great content. Keep doing the best work that you can make, you know. keep, you know, like showing up for your audience, showing up for the people who are showing up for you, whether it's 12 people or 12,000, just keep showing up, because that's being part of a community. And there's really nothing more valuable than that, the relationships that you have, you know. Even if they're social media or YouTube relationships, if people are showing up for you, you should show up for them. That's the way. That's the best part of being human, is to show up for other people. Which is the last part of this video. Which is, yesterday I got to hang out with my friend Alicia.
New York City, baby.
And we've been friends for quite a long time now. And we're very similar. Like, we're definitely each other's tribe. You know what I mean? Like, we're similar people. We're both kind of out there on our own in many, many ways. We do our own thing. We don't follow any rules of, you know, the way people think we should do things all the time. We take a lot of risks. We can both be kind of reckless at times, but we also believe in good things, and we're both quite spiritual.
Rock motherfucking wilk.
And we both work our asses off on our craft. You know, she's a writer, and among many other things, but she's a brilliant artist who works really, really hard, you know, harder than pretty much anybody that I know, you know, like me. And yesterday we got together. We hadn't seen each other in a couple of years. She moved out of the country, and we got to meet in Midtown Manhattan. We met at Grand Central, and we walked around, and we decided to just act like a couple of tourists. And I felt like I had eaten the best meal that I had had in a long time, and it just felt like good nutrition, you know what I mean? It just filled me up, and I felt like I just had a blood transfusion, because life proves to me over and over and over again that the most important thing in our existence is the people that we know.
I'm recording us walking.
What?
I'm recording us walking.
And the people who resonate with us. And, you know, being somebody who was adopted and came out of foster care, and I don't have a lot of connections, and I really have no family anymore. You know, it's even more important to me that I do have some people in my life who are like solid, you know. Like, I don't have many friends, but the ones I have are family to me, you know. Like, I would step in front of a truck for them, and I know they would do the same for me. And so we just had a great time, and you know, like my friend Tongo once said to me, who's a great poet laureate of San Francisco, actually. You know, we were sitting outside of the Bronx Museum of Art one day. We were about to walk in to see an exhibit of the Young Lords, actually. We just ran into each other randomly. He happened to be in New York for a couple of days. I just happened to be walking down the Grand Concourse, and we were right there at the museum. So I walked in with him. He was going to the museum, and he just happened to see me as I was walking by. I was actually rehearsing a play, walking up and down the street, which is what I do. And I'll never forget, I think about this all the time. You know, he's somebody who is similar to me as well, in that he's a very powerful spirit, and he doesn't give a shit about anything. Like, well, I shouldn't say that. He cares deeply about everything and everybody. What I mean is that he will always do what he thinks is right, regardless of what anybody else thinks. You know, he will do the right thing. He will extend himself. He will put himself out there. He will put his own life on hold to help other people, because that's what he's like. He's just that guy, you know. And if you met him, he's just like a regular guy, you know. You would never think that he's that deep, you know, that layered, you know, that special, you know. He's the kind of guy who will like drop his whole life and like go to Mississippi because he did some research and found out that young black boys in that area are graduating school at the lowest rate in the country, and so he'll go there and teach for a year. Just, he doesn't know anybody there. He's that kind of person. He said to me, you know, we're both kind of on the outside a lot. You know, we do things on the outside. We don't just play by the rules. We don't, you know, do what institutions tell us to do just to be successful. We're always trying to make the best and most meaningful art that really contributes to society. You know, he and I were very similar in that way. And he said to me, he said, Rock, but I realized, like, I can't get anything done from the outside. I got to get on the inside somehow. And at the end of the day, I realized, and this is him talking to me, he said, you know, in order to be a better artist, I have to be a better person. And so I have to be able to deal with these people that I have rejected, you know, who I was like, no, I'm going to do it my way. Like, I have to figure out how to include them too. So in order to be a better artist, you have to become a better person. I carry that with me, and I think that's the way Alicia is. And, you know, it's just important to check in with yourself every once in a while and remind yourself of some of these things, you know. Isn't it funny how the light is coming through my window now, right at that moment, illuminating this moment? That's pretty deep. And the other thing about yesterday is that we just had fun.
Oh my God, Rock, this is my first time in New York City. This is incredible. I can't believe I'm here. This is wild.
You know, just stupid, silly, fun. We went and we watched the ice skating rink outside by Bryant Park on 42nd Street, and we walked around Times Square, and I took a picture of her in front of the I Love New York sign, which, you know, it's like we're New Yorkers, you know, we don't do shit like that. But yesterday we really appreciated, I think, the energy of all these people in Times Square visiting New York, you know, and being so, you know, like wowed by the whole thing. And, you know, we took pictures of the Chrysler building, and, you know, we just like appreciated what other people find amazing, you know. And sometimes when you live in a certain place, you just take it for granted. Like, of course, yeah, this is what it is, you know, it's New York, whatever, who cares? But sometimes it's good to walk around Times Square, to just hang out in Grand Central, see people pouring in from out of town, and just appreciate how special it is, you know. And it, as Alicia said, you know, as she was leaving me, she goes, "Thank you so much for pouring into me." And, you know, I felt the same way, like she just poured into me, you know.
Alicia and Rock. That's right.
Old New York.
Old New York, right here. Right?
Made me feel good, made me feel like, you know what, I have a friend, and we're solid. We've stood the test of time.
I told you we're going to be tourists today, Rock. We got to act like we've never seen none of this shit.
We cannot see each other for a couple of years and get together and, you know, share a grass-fed burger together and just hang out, you know, and have fun. And now she's going back out of the country, and I'm back where I'm at, and we're just continuing our work and doing the best we can, and all of that. So, yeah, that's what was on my mind.
Once again, 8:38, express train to Poughkeepsie, Croton Harmon, next stop. Stand clear, the doors are